Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Bulgar, humans and mystical creatures lived together in harmony. Among them was a girl named Yawa, whose beauty was matched only by her calm and gentle nature. The villagers adored her, admiring not just her looks, but her kind heart. Many men in the village, smitten by her charm, would often ask, "Yawa, you are so lovely, will you marry me?" But Yawa, with a warm smile, would always reply, "Thank you, but I am not ready." Every day, Yawa made her way to the bustling market, where she sold the finest fruits and vegetables. Everyone loved buying from her, not just for the quality of her goods, but for the kindness she radiated. Yet, despite her daily presence in the market, no one knew where Yawa lived. She would arrive early, before the first rays of the sun, and leave just as the sky began to darken. The villagers often whispered among themselves, "Where does Yawa go? Where does she live?" But Yawa remained a mystery, content in her role as the village's beloved, yet private, market girl. One bright, sunny day, a handsome man named Quim came to the market in Bulgar. As he wandered through the stalls, searching for the freshest produce, his eyes fell on Yawa. He was immediately captivated, thinking, "She is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen." Quim couldn't take his eyes off her. Gathering his courage, he approached her and said, "Hello, my name is Quim. What's your name?" Yawa smiled gently, her eyes soft and kind, and replied, "I'm Yawa. How can I help you today?" Quim's heart skipped a beat, thrilled to be speaking with her. He bought some fruits, but lingered, engaging her in conversation about the weather, the village, and the market. Each word from Yawa's lips, each smile she gave, only deepened Quim's enchantment, and soon, he found himself returning to the market every day, just to see her. One evening, as the market was winding down and the last rays of sunlight began to fade, Quim noticed how late it was getting. He saw Yawa carefully packing up her goods and, concerned for her safety, offered, "Let me walk you home. It's not safe to go alone in the dark." Yawa hesitated, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes, but Quim's insistence finally won her over. As they walked, the warm evening air gradually turned cool, and the once bright sky deepened into a dusky blue. Suddenly, Quim felt a cold, eerie touch on his back, as if a ghostly hand had reached out to him. Startled, he spun around, but saw nothing. His heart pounded in his chest, a cold sweat forming on his brow. Despite his fear, Yawa continued ahead, seemingly unaffected. Overwhelmed with a growing sense of dread, Quim stopped abruptly, his voice shaky as he said, "Yawa, I think I should go back. It's getting too dark." Yawa turned to him, her gaze gentle but understanding, and softly said, "It's okay, Quim. You can go back if you're scared." Quim, his eyes wide with fear, nodded quickly and hurried back to the village, running until the familiar sights of his home brought him some comfort. From that day on, Quim never returned to the market to see Yawa. The mysterious cold hand and the dark night had frightened him away, leaving Yawa to continue her life in the village, missing the brief companionship they had shared, yet resigned to the solitude she knew so well. But Yawa had a secret, one she kept hidden from the villagers, who saw only a beautiful girl from the market. Yawa wasn't just an ordinary girl, she came from the deep, magical forest that lay beyond Bulgar. Her family, who lived there, were not human. They had the power to take on different forms, but Yawa was unique, she alone could maintain a human appearance at all times. Her family loved her deeply, but they were protective, warning her repeatedly, "Yawa, you must not marry a human. Our world and theirs are too different." They feared what might happen if she got too close to the humans of Bulgar. When Quim began visiting Yawa, her parents grew increasingly worried. They didn't want her to fall in love with him, so they devised a plan to keep him away. The cold hand that Quim felt on his back was their doing, a trick to frighten him, to protect Yahweh from what they saw as a dangerous path. Yahweh, though saddened by Quaim's sudden absence, understood her parents' fears. She longed to have friends in the village, to live a life free of the restrictions placed upon her by her family. The longing for freedom grew within her, and eventually, Yahweh made a bold decision. She decided to leave her family in the forest and stay in Bolga for good. One day, with a heavy heart, Yahweh ventured deep into the forest to say goodbye to her family. She stood before them, her voice steady but filled with emotion as she said, "I love you, but I want to live my own life. I want to be free to make my own choices." Her parents, though saddened, understood her desire for independence. They warned her one last time, their voices filled with concern, "Be careful, Yahweh. The world outside can be harsh." With tears in her eyes, Yahweh embraced them, and then, with resolve in her heart, she left the forest behind and returned to Bolga, ready to build a new life for herself among the humans. Yahweh's decision brought her a sense of freedom she had never felt before, but it also filled her with fear. She knew the path ahead would not be easy. To ensure she could fully embrace her new life and not be drawn back into her family's world, Yahweh decided to visit the shrine of Bosampa, a powerful spirit known for helping those seeking a different path in life. She walked to the shrine and knelt before Bosampa's altar, her voice trembling with both determination and fear. "Great Bosampa, I wish to sever all connections with my family. I want to live freely in Bolga village, away from their control." Bosampa appeared before her, a soft glow surrounding the spirit's form, and listened to Yahweh's plea. After a moment, Bosampa nodded and said, "I understand your wish, Yahweh. I will grant you the freedom you seek, but know this, your family will not be happy. They may try to curse you to bring you back." Yahweh, her heart pounding with both fear and resolve, nodded, "I understand. I still want to go through with it." With a gentle wave of Bosampa's hand, the bond between Yahweh and her family was severed. But just as Bosampa had warned, when her family realized that they had lost their connection to Yahweh, their grief turned to anger. Her mother, heartbroken and furious, laid a curse on her beloved daughter. She whispered to the winds, "May you never find happiness with a human. May they always leave you in despair." Despite the curse, Yahweh stayed in Bolga. She continued to live her life in the village, selling her goods at the market, hoping to find love and belonging, even as the shadow of the curse loomed over her. Yahweh was determined to live freely, to embrace her life in Bolga, no matter the challenges ahead. She kept her kind and gentle nature, even when her heart ached, hoping that one day, she would meet someone who could see past the curse and love her for who she truly was. One day, a well-known merchant named Owusu arrived in Bolga village. He was a traveler, moving from village to village, selling fine cloth and beautiful garments. Owusu was charming and friendly, quickly winning the affection of the villagers. When he saw Yahweh at the market, he was immediately struck by her beauty and grace. "Who is this lovely girl?" he wondered, his heart stirred by her presence. Owusu approached Yahweh with a bright smile. "Hello, I'm Owusu. I travel around selling beautiful cloth. You must be Yahweh, the girl everyone talks about," he said, his voice filled with warmth. Yahweh smiled back, her kindness shining through as she replied, "Yes, that's me. It's nice to meet you, Owusu." Owusu was captivated by her gentle voice and the kindness in her eyes. Day after day, he found himself drawn back to Yahweh's stall, eager to spend more time with her. They talked and laughed, and Owusu soon realized that he was falling in love with her. Yahweh, with her sweet and gentle nature, had touched his heart in a way no one else had. After some time, Owusu decided that he wanted to marry Yahweh. With excitement and hope, he approached her and said, "Yahweh, I like you very much. Will you marry me and come live with my family?" Yahweh, who had been cautious about love because of her past, felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. She agreed to meet Owusu's family, her heart filled with both excitement and apprehension. Owusu was overjoyed and took Yawa to his village to introduce her to his parents. But when they arrived, Owusu's mother looked at Yawa with suspicion. She had heard rumors about Yawa's mysterious past and the strange events that surrounded her. This girl, she is beautiful, but there's something off about her, she thought, her mind filled with doubt. After spending some time with Yawa, Owusu's mother shook her head, her voice firm as she said, "I'm sorry, Owusu, but I don't trust this girl. There's a curse around her. She is not suitable for our family." Owusu was shocked, his heart sinking as he looked at Yawa, who stood silently, her face a mask of sorrow. He had fallen deeply for her, but he respected his mother's wishes. With a heavy heart, he turned to Yawa and said, "Yawa, I'm sorry. My mother doesn't approve of our marriage. I must listen to my family." Yawa felt her heart shatter into a million pieces. She had hoped that Owusu would see past the curse, but she understood his choice. With tears in her eyes, she nodded, her voice barely above a whisper, "I understand." She quietly left Owusu's home, her steps heavy as she returned to Bolga village, the weight of the curse pressing down on her more than ever before. Though her heart was broken, Yawa continued to live in Bolga, still clinging to the hope that one day, she would find someone who could love her despite the curse. She stayed strong, her gentle nature remaining intact, even as her heart ached with every passing day. After the heartbreak with Owusu, Yawa felt the curse's grip tightening around her, suffocating her hopes for a happy life. Desperate for a way out, Yawa decided to return to Bosompa's shrine, hoping that the powerful spirit could help her find peace and break the curse that haunted her every step. Yawa walked to the shrine, her steps heavy with the burden of her sorrow, and knelt before Bosompa's altar. Her voice trembled as she spoke, "Great Bosompa, I am suffering because of the curse placed on me. I wish to live a happy life, free from this burden. Please, help me break this curse." Bosompa appeared in a soft glow, her expression filled with sympathy. "Yawa," she began, her voice gentle, "the curse placed on you is strong, and breaking it will not be easy. However, there is a way, but it requires a great sacrifice." Yawa's eyes filled with both fear and hope. "I will do anything, great Bosompa. Please, tell me what I must do." Bosompa looked at her with compassion and said, "To break the curse, you must give up the one thing that means the most to you, your beauty. It is your beauty that has attracted the attention of men and has been the source of your heartbreak. If you are willing to sacrifice your beauty, the curse will be lifted, and you will be free to live your life without fear of rejection." Yawa was shocked, her heart filled with sadness at the thought of losing her beauty. It was a part of her, something that had defined her for so long. But she also knew that it was the reason for her suffering. With a heavy heart, Yawa nodded, her voice steady but filled with sorrow, "I am willing to give up my beauty if it means I can live a peaceful and happy life." Bosompa smiled gently, her hand glowing as she placed it on Yawa's forehead. "It is done," Bosompa said softly. As the spirit's power washed over her, Yawa felt a profound change within herself. She knew her beauty was gone, but with its loss came a sense of peace she had longed for. When she returned to the villagers noticed the change in Yawa. She no longer had the radiant beauty that once captivated everyone, but she was still the kind and gentle girl they had always known. People still liked her, not for her looks, but for the goodness of her heart. And though Yawa had sacrificed her beauty, she found herself free from the curse that had haunted her. She was no longer burdened by the fear of rejection and could finally live her life on her own terms. The villagers respected Yawa for her strength and courage. Though she was no longer the most beautiful girl in the village, she was still loved and admired for her kind heart and gentle nature. Yawa's story spread throughout Bolga, and she became a symbol of inner strength and the power of sacrifice. The villagers learned to appreciate people for who they were, not just for their outward appearance. And Yawa, though she had given up her beauty, found true happiness and peace in the village she called home, living a life that was her own.